I scream, you scream, we all scream for taxes? The dead of winter isn't a great time for eating ice cream, sure, but it's a perfect time to use ice cream as a way of talking about your tax refund. That's why we're here, eating ice cream while it's 25 degrees outside and explaining the tax system. This year is different than usual, thanks to the new tax law that Congress passed at the end of 2017. And for some taxpayers, it could be a rocky road. We've got the scoop on the new tax season and what it means for your deductions and your tax refund. I'm Richard Rubin, and we're topping taxes. We're talking taxes. Now let's get to the ice cream, or, you know, the money. A lot changed when Congress shuffled the tax law. Today we're just going to focus on two things that affect millions of people: itemized deductions and refunds. Let's start with itemized deductions. Before the new tax law, you had two choices: get 2 scoops of standard vanilla as your standard deduction, or a mixed flavor sundae with itemized deductions. If you choose to itemize, you could fill your bowl with chocolate, salted caramel, and strawberry, plus some sprinkles for miscellaneous items. If this approach got you more ice cream, you would take that because you would get a bigger tax deduction that way, and that's what 30% of households did. But this year, things are changing. Because of the new tax law, you're starting with 4 scoops of standard vanilla instead of 2. So if you want to itemize, you're going to need a lot more chocolate, salted caramel, and strawberry ice cream to bring it over the standard deduction. And now Congress took away gelato deductions. I mean, a lot of deductions this year. It will only let you have a mini scoop of salted caramel, state and local taxes. And Congress banned those miscellaneous sprinkles. That means even more people are going to choose vanilla. About 90% will. That's easier to keep track of, and for most people, it's the way to get the most ice cream. I know, in a real ice cream shop, you might prefer 2 scoops of chocolate to 4 scoops of vanilla. But this is an IRS cream shop. The people and institutions that depend on itemizing, charities, high-tax states, and the housing industry, are worried about what will happen in this new vanilla world. Some of them say this is nuts. Okay, it's almost time to eat. But here's the question: how much is all this going to cost? Or, in tax speak, how big will your refund be? Even before the new law, Americans were getting an average tax refund of almost $3,000. Sweet. Let's call that 3 ice cream cones. You're used to that amount. Every spring you file your return and you get those 3 cones back. But this year, the changing tax rates and everything may have fudged up that pattern. About 2/3 of Americans will pay less in taxes for 2018 because of the new law, and just 6% will pay more. But come mid-April, you won't necessarily get more money back than last year. That is, don't expect to get your new tax cut on top of your old refund. That's because they changed the tax withholding from your paycheck about a year ago, and you may not have spent your time in early 2018 making sure that you'd have 3 cones in early 2019. In other words, you could have been eating some of your springtime ice cream cones last summer, so you might get only 2 cones come tax time. But maybe you were paying more taxes than you needed to and eating less ice cream during the year than you even realized, and you didn't notice it. Now, maybe you'd get 4 or even 5 cones back as a refund. On the one hand, you let the government keep your ice cream in its freezer for months. But on the other hand, you've got 4 or 5 ice cream cones. But here's the thing, the number of cones you get in April, that is the size of your refund, doesn't really tell you whether you got a tax cut or not. To figure that out, you have to look at your receipt. Look at your 2017 tax return and check your total income and your total taxes. And then do the same thing for your 2018 return. Of course, if you got married or switched jobs or had a child in 2018, this comparison gets tricky. If you want to go back to that 3 cones in April pattern, check your withholding now. The IRS or your tax preparer can help. In the meantime, if you're stuck paying more, lick your wounds. Otherwise, lick your refund.